Nestled between towering mountains and a sprawling ancient forest lay the village of Hanasaki. Isolated and peaceful it may have seemed, but a shadow lurked in the hearts of its people. A legend, whispered from generation to generation, kept them prisoners of fear. It spoke of the Ushi-Oni, a monstrous creature that haunted the mountain paths and the depths of the forest. The elders spoke of its colossal ox-like body, its shaggy fur black as night. They described its head, a grotesque mask of horns and fangs, a demon's visage that haunted nightmares. The Ushi-Oni, they said, thirsted for the blood of the living, and woe betide any who crossed its path. Fear, potent and consuming, clung to the villagers. They avoided the forest after dark, their windows shuttered tight against the night. The very air seemed to crackle with unspoken dread. The legend of the Ushi-Oni had woven itself into the fabric of their lives, a tapestry of terror they could not escape. The night was heavy with rain, the sky choked by storm clouds. Within a dimly lit tea-house, a group of young men sat huddled around a low table. They were the sons and grandsons of Hanasaki, their laughter a fragile defiance against the oppressive atmosphere. They spoke of the legend, as young men often do, with bravado masking a sliver of fear. Hiro, the youngest among them, slammed his cup down, the tea sloshing over the rim. "We should go," he declared, his voice tight with forced confidence. "We should go into the forest and face this beast ourselves." A nervous silence followed his proclamation. The others exchanged uneasy glances, but the storm raged on, mirroring the restlessness in their young hearts. The legend, whispered for so long, had taken root in their minds, a challenge they felt compelled to answer. And so, fueled by youthful daring and sake-warmed courage, they decided to venture into the forbidden forest. Armed with nothing but flickering lanterns and false bravado, they stepped out into the storm. The rain lashed at their faces, the wind howling through the trees like a mournful cry. Each step deeper into the forest felt like a step closer to the heart of the legend. The familiar path, travelled countless times in daylight, seemed alien and menacing under the cloak of night. The trees, gnarled and ancient, loomed over them like spectral guardians. The air grew thick with the scent of damp earth, and something else, something primal and unsettling. Fear, a serpent coiled deep within their chests, began to stir. The laughter died down, replaced by the rhythmic crunch of their footsteps and the frantic beating of their hearts. They pressed on, each man clinging to the flickering light of his lantern as if it were a lifeline. Deeper and deeper they ventured, the storm intensifying with each step. The wind howled through the trees, its mournful song a constant reminder of the danger that lurked in the shadows. Then a sound cut through the storm's symphony, a low growl, guttural and menacing. It came from the heart of the forest, a primal sound that sent shivers down their spines. The youths froze, their blood turning to ice in their veins. The bravado that had sustained them evaporated like mist on a summer morning, replaced by raw, primal fear. Hiro, his youthful arrogance momentarily forgotten, felt a cold dread grip his heart. Yet a strange compulsion, a need to prove his courage, took hold of him. "Stay here," he whispered, his voice trembling. "I'll see what it is." Before his companions could protest, he was gone, swallowed by the darkness. Hiro moved cautiously through the undergrowth, his lantern casting dancing shadows that magnified his fear. The growl echoed again, closer this time, vibrating through the very earth beneath his feet. He pushed through a thicket of bamboo and emerged into a small clearing. And then he saw it, the Ushi-Oni. It stood in the center of the clearing, a monstrous silhouette against the backdrop of the storm. Its body was indeed that of a gigantic ox, its muscles rippling beneath its thick, matted fur. But its head, oh, its head was a nightmare given form. Horns, long and curved like those of a demon, sprouted from its skull. Its eyes burned with a malevolent red light, and its mouth was a gaping maw filled with rows of razor-sharp teeth. The creature lowered its head, its nostrils flaring as it caught Hero's scent. The lantern slipped from Hero's numb fingers, plunging the clearing into darkness. He heard the Ushi-Oni bellow, a sound of pure rage and hunger. Then he was running, his legs pumping, his lungs burning. He didn't dare look back, could only focus on putting as much distance between himself and the monster as possible. The sound of the Ushi-Oni's hooves thundered behind him, shaking the very ground. Branches whipped at his face, tearing at his clothes, but he didn't slow down. Fear, pure and primal, lent speed to his flight. He burst through the undergrowth, stumbling back into the path where he had left his companions. "Run!" he screamed, his voice hoarse with terror. "Run for your lives!" His words were lost in the storm, but the look on his face, the sheer terror in his eyes, spoke volumes. The youths didn't hesitate. They turned and fled, following Hero as he plunged back into the darkness, the sound of the Ushi-Oni's enraged roars echoing behind them. They ran until their lungs burned and their legs screamed for mercy. They ran until the first light of dawn pierced through the storm clouds. They stumbled back into Hanasaki, soaked to the bone, their eyes wide with terror, their clothes torn and mud-caked. But Hero was not with them. The villagers gathered around them, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and grim understanding. They had seen it all before, the terror-stricken return of those foolish enough to tempt fate in the forbidden forest. They heard the youth's story, their fragmented accounts of the terrifying encounter. From that day forward, the legend of the Ushi-Oni took on a new meaning in Hanasaki. It was no longer a tale whispered by the fireside, but a chilling reality that cast a long shadow over their lives. The forest remained forbidden, a silent testament to the terror that lurked within. And on nights when the moon hung full and heavy in the sky, those who dared to venture outside could hear it, a mournful cry echoing from the heart of the forest, a chilling reminder of the price of youthful daring and the legends that are born from truth.